Hello, educators. My name is Levio Bolson. I'm one of the co-founders of Codemoji. So today I'm going to go over the CSS beginner lessons. So these cover different concepts with styling a web page and so on. We also have vocabulary cards that you can see in your teacher dashboard under resources. There'll be a button for you to click that will link you to all of the resource cards that give you more vocabulary for each term. So we're going to jump into the first lesson here. This is the one we are going to go over. So the very first lesson talks about color, and the color is represented by this color wheel here. In the first lesson, we are going to first understand that CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheet. And this means some websites have more than one style sheet to make their websites look pretty and design them. So today we're going to go over how to add a color to an H1 element that we learned in the previous HTML beginner lessons. It's very simple. All the lessons are designed for the CSS beginner with the icon the student needs to click on first is flashing to give them a kind of visual cue, along with, we also have the instructions as well. All the instructions are also text-to-speech. In this lesson, like all the other ones, we still have the button to notify the teacher if the student needs help. We also have the live display. We have taken out the HTML, like the box that has all the different tags, because it's not needed in these lessons. If you accidentally delete something, you can refresh it using this icon, and that's how you can do these lessons. The trash can is not really used on these lessons. So first off, we are going to click on the ice cream cone, which represents an HTML header tag. And then we're going to select the color red. So after we've done that, we have just completed the first lesson. So you can really explain to the students that this is how they can change the text on a web page, and this is how web pages, the text is handled using these color concepts. Which you can see right here, we have updated the class color1 to be red. So that's what we've just done. So, yep. Now we can move on. We also have checkpoint questions on many of the CSS beginner lessons, and these help generate the quiz or the lesson plan at the end of the course, so the students can go over concepts they were having some trouble on. The checkpoint quizzes are really non-invasive, so the students don't really realize that they're actually kind of being quizzed, so it's a nice way to get some more information on how the students are doing. So right now we're gonna change the size to make it a little bit bigger, so we can just read the instructions real quickly here. We're looking to add the largest element, which is the last one, or if we get the answer wrong, like always, we have a little helper image here that shows you which one to select. So we'll select the biggest one. The reason we don't give it just the only, like, the last option is so the students have a little bit more, like, can kind of, fail and succeed very easily, and make the students want to keep moving on and being successful. So now we're on to font family. So the font family is represented by a family. We do this so we correlate an image with a function. So later on, the students will understand that those are the values and the functionality behind some of these elements. So we're going to change it to a T. It's the T in the middle. And they each have a little bit different look. So you can see they all have a little bit different functionality. So we're just going to set it to the center T, and that is the answer for this one. So as you can see, also our progress is progressing. I already did some of these lessons, so it's not going to progress quite as quickly. So now we're going to align the text to center it. You can also explain to the students in this case about different Word documents having different alignment methods. Center or spaced or right or left. And this is like a good time to bring in other like core subjects and skills. Now we're going to jump on to the next one. We have another checkpoint quiz here. Just going to answer that correctly. So now we're going to go over style. So we represent font style by a hat, a stylish hat. And you can explain to the students, if you want to be stylish, sometimes you wear a hat. In this case, we're going to add an italics to the emoji, and we're going to do that with this eye, this slanted eye. So we're just going to click on it, and then we're going to select the eye. You can explain about underlines and bolds at that moment as well. So it's gonna follow a pretty simple convention, and this is because these lessons are meant to design for many ages. So they're very simple to get going, but after a while they actually get relatively complex because we're adding more than one element. There's a lot more going on. So we have just shrunk the image. This is the width. This is represented by the two arrows. The width is just how wide the image is, or different element. So in this case, we shrunk the image to a very small width from a medium width. So now we're going to go over height. So height is represented by the up and down arrows, and height is again like width. It deals with the like the up and down of an image. So in this case, we're going to take the image. We're going to select the monkey in this case, and we're going to have to select the largest element. So you can see the monkey just got bigger over there in the live display. You can just select that's the one that represents height. So now we're going to go over background color. So background color is the color behind elements. So right now we just updated the div's background color. So the div is surrounding the ice cream cone. So this is dealing with the div background color. And then the ice cream cone has a default black text. And so we just updated the background to be green. So you can explain any website. This website has a blue background at the top and whitish background and gray throughout this area. So now we're going to add a border color of blue to the document. So you can see now it's bordering the text, and this is because we're representing that in a div, and that's how the text is surrounded. So we can also change this. In this case, the answer is blue, but you can kind of see this is so students eventually can explore more in the playground and kind of build their own web page. So now we're going to go over border radius. So the border radius is represented by, in this case, kind of like a globe. That's because it has a circle radius. We thought that was kind of interesting. Some of the elements are a little here and there, but we took a lot of time to think about which elements would represent the best CSS elements. So right now we've just added about 80%. So 100% is a circle, 80% is like almost, and this is almost a square. So we can see we just updated that, and now we're in the live display. So this course is quite long, so I'm going to go over almost all of it just to make sure you get all the information you need so that your students can be successful. So after lesson 10 of the CSS beginner lessons, we changed the modals from 3 modals to 1 modal. This is so the information is a little bit more in front of the student after they've kind of learned the core concept. You can see we update the color to red. Oh, I forgot. Oh, and we have to select the largest square. So we also have text-to-speech to help with any issues. I'm dyslexic, so that's why I wanted to put that in there for any students that might need some extra support. So we've just updated the color to red in this case. Now we're going to deal with font family to T, and we're going to select the alignment, and we're going to select the second option. So very quickly, the students will figure out what's going on. We see that after just a couple of minutes, the students are able to completely grasp most of these concepts and be able to quickly move throughout the courses. So now in this course, again, we're just going over some of the same concepts we were going over earlier, but now we're adding 2 elements at once. We thought this would be really cool to also reinforce the concepts, but also do something cool, like build something. So now we're going to select the U in this case. So the U is handling the underline. We've just done underline. So Now we're going to do 3 elements. So over time, they get a little bit more complex. It might take the students a couple more minutes to figure out exactly what the correct answer is. So in this case, we are going to select the 4th option, and we're going to select the 1st option. So we're going to select the 1st option and the 4th option. So we can see we got that right. We can see we spaced out the text over here, and we also then changed the color of the text to be yellow. So now we can go on to the next lesson. So now we're just dealing with style. So now the lessons are more open-ended. We don't have strict parameters on them. So now the students just have to select 5 options. So the lessons get a little open-ended so that we can have the students kind of create something. So you can see the answer is correct. So they selected 5 different styles, elements, and they were able to complete that lesson. So after that one, now we're going to transition back to some more height and width to explain how 2 elements work together. So these 2 elements work together most of the time. You'll usually see height and width used together, and you can select any height and width you would like to see what the answer might be. So once you get the answer incorrect or wrong, so in this case I got it wrong, we need to select a very small width and a very tall height. So we did that. So we got a kind of a goofy looking image. But that's the answer. And sometimes your images will look like that, but in most cases, most websites will have a very consistent width and height. So now we're going to add a border color of option 3 and a radius of option 3 as well. So again, we just click on the image. We can select a cat in this case because I like the cat. And we select option 3. I think I selected option 3 as well. And that was correct. So you can see we added a border to the outside of the image, and we also curved the edges a little bit. So now we're going to add a background color and a radius. Both options are option 1. And we select the top of the element. And now so we can see here we just added kind of like a circle, and you can see the text is behind the div. So now we're going to do 3 elements. We're going to do background color, radius, and border. So again, we're going over some of the same concepts, and you can explain to the students that the lessons are very going to change all the time, and that there's a lot of different things they can do after they learn some of these core concepts to build web pages. So there's our answer. So I'm just going to complete that real quick. And we have now got that answer correct. So we have just a couple more lessons here. The last couple are quite open-ended to give the students some room to kind of experience and try their own thing. So they have to select 5 options, and once they've done that, you can kind of see we added a border, made it really big, and we made it kind of not so wide. So once we've done that, we can see our results. And this will kind of give the students some different options. So again, now we're going to select 2 different elements, and then we're going to complete this. So we're going to select a background color of red, and we're going to change the H1 tag to green. So now we've changed this to red. Now we're going to select the H1 and change this to green. So once we've done that, we can see the background color has been updated and the green has been updated as well. So this is kind of fun, a little Christmassy. So now we're going to change the image, and then we're going to also change the text under the image. So first we are going to do that by selecting the image. Then we're going to add it a color. Which color would it like? It wants to get purple. And then we are going to select the ice cream cone and select option 1, which is the small text. As you can see, we added a border color here. We also added below the image. So we just have a couple more lessons here. I know this is a little bit longer. I try to be quite brief with the course, as a lot of it's kind of straightforward, just explaining some of the different ideas and concepts about sizing and problem solving and computational thinking is where we suggest you should tailor your course. So now we're going to select a width of an option of 1, and then we're going to change the height. So we're going to change this to 1. Now we're going to change the height to 5, I think, if I was not mistaken. So we've just made the div here small, but we've made the text really large. So that's how this answer is structured. So now this is one of the last lessons that we have, and you change the border of the div by clicking on the div and then selecting option 1, and then you click on that and select option 2. So this is kind of, these can be quite tricky, but hopefully over time students are able to, oops, you need to also select a link, and then you select the style for the link. So you can see we added a bold style there. So freestyle is the last lesson that we have, and like the other ones, it lets the students just basically put whatever they would like. So here we can kind of change that. We make the text huge. We can change the font to kind of goofy. We can make it centered or off-centered. We can give it an underline. So that is the CSS beginner lessons. Once the students have completed those lessons, we give them two options to learn more, go over some JavaScript concepts, or go over combo lessons, which are a mix between HTML and CSS, or the students can go to our playground area. So this has been our quick tutorial of the CSS beginner lessons. Please contact us if you have any questions, and we hope you enjoy.